Hi, everyone. You might have already heard that German taxes are some of the highest in the world. Some people even say it's a tax hell. Whether it's that, I leave it up to you. I guess it's always a bit philosophical. The maximum income tax in Germany at 45%, some of the highest in the world. Like it's not the absolute highest, but it's quite high from a global perspective. And also, more importantly, actually, the system is designed in a way where it really tricks you into thinking, oh, it's actually not that bad, because there's so many hidden taxes. Because the most important point is that in the end, you don't just pay income tax, you pay pension fund tax, health insurance tax, value-added tax, gas tax. So let's make a very concrete example. If you make about 60,000 euros of a gross salary, so that's like the number per year that's negotiated in your work contract. You maybe live in Munich or in Hamburg, so a bit more expensive city, and you're maybe about 25, 28 years old. The age doesn't really matter. Like if you're 35, it would still be similar. It's more about the situation in your life to give it some context. So I'm assuming here you're single, you have maybe some girlfriend, boyfriend, but you're not married, you don't have kids yet, nothing too serious yet. You're still like easygoing, don't have too many commitments. And the salary of 60K per year, it's typical good junior developer salary in, for example, Munich. Like you definitely have to be good to reach this. Not everybody gets it for free, but you can actually reach it straight out of university if you've come from any decent university in the world and maybe you've done some internships. You can definitely reach this straight away with not too much really significant work experience. It's also not a bad salary. But it's also not a super good salary. Basically, you're more like the typical middle class person who really has to work very hard to get anywhere in life. You're definitely not rich, even if maybe this sounds like a lot, depending on where you're coming from. I would also say you need roughly that much if you want to live in a city like Munich or Hamburg. These are the more expensive cities in Germany, especially if maybe you have a partner and they earn less money and you have to support them a bit. I think it will not be enough to support like a partner who doesn't make any money, but if they make less money than you, then you can maybe share the cost, not 50-50, but have a different percentage or something like this. This is definitely affordable with a salary like this. But yeah, if you ask me, it's too little for kids. You need more. And also, if you maybe need to support anyone like your parents, depending on how much they need, you should actually have more. This is not a luxurious salary, even if it's maybe a good middle class salary. All right, so let's get back to the number of about 5K per month times 12 equals 60K per year. And really the annual number is the most important one. Some employers pay it in 13 installments or so. It doesn't really matter. The annual figure is the important one. So the important thing is your employer pays not only those 60K, even if in your work contract it says 60K, and even if there are deductions, really what the employer pays is about 75.3K. So they pay a whopping 25% on top of what is really negotiated. And this number, this 25%, it doesn't come from, oh, you need a desk and a computer. No. That's not even included. It's the pure cost of employment if you need to, basically the employer side social security, that's what they call it. The government will always say, oh, it's something your employer will pay. But I would say this is actually a lie because they only collect the money. In reality, the employer, for them, they don't care. For them, it's like, okay, 60K is in the contract, but really it means we got to pay 75K. That's the actual payroll cost for this developer we have here. And they could just pay it out to you. Whether then you pay that or somebody else pays it, doesn't matter. Basically, 60K is more like 75K. That's the actual number, or 75.3K to be precise. And that's already a lot. And by the way, if you want to check all the math, the numbers here, or understand it a bit more, you can go to websites like nettolohn.de or some others. There's many calculators out there where you can calculate basically the total cost of employment and all the various deductions. But keep in mind, you also have to see the part that the employer pays for you, not just the sort of brutto netto percentage. That's only half the truth. All right, let's get back to the numbers. So out of your 5K per month, you pay about 796 euros per month, so it's approximately 16% in income tax. Doesn't sound so bad at first, right? But as I said, it's not everything. There's more stuff. Social Security, for example, it still comes on top of that. There's a pension fund tax, so you pay about 465 euros per month just for the pension fund. That's about 9.3% from your 5K gross salary. Then you have health insurance tax, so you pay about 547 euros per month, or about 11% from your brutto salary. Then you have unemployment insurance tax. It's about 65 euros per month, or 1.3% from your gross salary. And so in the end, from those like 75.3K per year divided by 12 on a monthly basis, what you really get paid out to your bank account is approximately 3,125 euros. So basically, we started with 75.3K. That's really how much your employer pays. And what you get is about 37.5K per year. Don't be confused here. The digits are coincidentally the same, but it's just a coincidence here. Basically, half the money so far, it goes already straight to the government. And we're not quite done yet. And before we get into the rest of the numbers, I'm not saying you get nothing in return, right? So all of this money that you give the government, it pays for certain things, which you then get. People always say you get it for free, but really you don't get it for free. You pay for it through your taxes. So for example, most of your healthcare cost is covered. There will still be a few things you have to pay out of pocket, but a lot is covered. And of course, you're not treated as favorably as a private patient. You often have to wait maybe 2 weeks or so for a doctor's appointment, but at least you don't need to worry about the cost. The government basically pays it from your taxes. And then there are the roads, the famous roads that everybody is talking about in the context of taxes. The education system, or most of it. It's not all free, but yeah, the government pays a fair share of it, so I guess that counts. Childcare also not entirely free, but the government pays a lot. So this can, of course, really help you once you have kids. But keep in mind then also you might have a higher income, and the tax deductions for kids might not compensate for it. So you might actually end up paying also a bit more. Yeah, so you get a few things and a few more, like I'm not listing everything, but this is really to say, okay, yes, you do get some things. Also social peace and so on, right? There's not too many rides in Germany, which I think is something that is worth something, and realistically, you just need to pay for that. It's not coming for free ever. That it just is this way. Even if you don't like it, it's this way. But as I said, we're not quite done yet. And the point also why I'm making this video is because basically you always have to compare the numbers a bit with competitive countries, other countries, be it Switzerland more on the end of less taxes, or be it also Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Norway, or maybe Estonia, or any of their neighbors that you prefer. Because I often feel like there's other countries which either will cost you a similar amount of percent of taxes each month, but they might actually deliver a better service, a better quality of all these services, or they deliver a similar quality of service, but they will cost you less money, less taxes, less percent that go out of your bank account and basically stay in your bank account. All right, let's finish looking into the numbers. So from your 3,125 euros, if you go to the supermarket, at least 7% of what you spend there is pure tax to the government. If you spend 100 euros in the supermarket, it's not all going to the supermarket or to their suppliers. A lot of it's still going to the government. Some things actually are at 19% VAT. Or for example, if you eat at a restaurant, like a nice dinner, maybe with your partner, 19% goes straight to the government. 100 euros dinner, only 81 really goes to the restaurant for them to pay, wages and buy the food and so on. 19% immediately goes just to the government. Or if you buy gas at the gas station, it's actually typically it's more than 50%. If you spend 100 euros on fuel, 50% just goes to the government. Only 50% actually go to, the gas station and the refinery, etc., etc. So of course it's a bit hard to say on average like what percentage of your money that you spend really goes to the government, but let's do a very, very rough estimation. I'm estimating that, if you have like around 3,000 euros per month in your bank account that you get paid out, then you might be spending about, let's say, 1,200 euros per month, which is not frugal, but it's also not luxurious. So I think it's a reasonable, conservative middle ground number, because, right, you're spending more, but rent is VAT free. So maybe only about 1,200, 1,300-ish per month includes some consumption taxes. And now if we conservatively say that on average, about 15% of those 1,200 euros that you will spend per month go into, VAT, fuel tax, and so on. And I think that's really a fair number. It might actually be, if you drive a car, it's probably going to be higher, but I want to be fair here. I don't want to make this too negative towards the government. I want to be fair here. So if we say 15% out of 1,200 euros, that means about 180 euros in additional money each month. They go straight to the government, actually, and they're just a hidden tax because you don't see it, but it happens. So if you cycle back to the beginning, we said it's 75.3K. That's about 7,270 euros per month that your employer really pays just for you. It's not the perks, it's not the coffee, it's not the desk or whatever. It's just the payroll cost they have for you, total cost. And what you really spend after everything is deducted, what you really have after everything is deducted, is 2,945-ish per month. So roughly 53% of your income goes more or less straight to the government throughout all these different ways. And as I said, it's not like you get nothing in return, but 53%, that is a lot of money. It's really a lot of money. And it becomes worse, because if you become more senior, if you're a senior developer, lead developer, manager, or if you're not even a developer, you're doing something completely different, but maybe you make 100K because you're very experienced after 20 years of work experience, it becomes worse. Way more percent go to the government in terms of taxes. To make it easier, and also because there's more and more people who are just not a member of a church, independent of whatever they believe in, and left out church tax. If you're a member of a church, then you pay taxes first to the government and then they forward it to the church. As I said before, from like 16%, we can get to a maximum of 42 or even 45% in the biggest income tax bracket. So it really can scale up. You're really getting closer and closer to handing over almost all the money that you actually earn each month straight to the government. And then you hope that they make something useful with it. You hope they build good roads and good education. And my point here is not, to paint the German government in a bad picture or anything, right? But the thing is that I feel like other countries, they manage to either charge you less percent per month and they will deliver you a similar service, or, and by similar service, I mean like roads, education, healthcare, and so on, or they charge you about the same. That's like more the Scandinavian countries, but the quality of service is better. The healthcare is actually, doctors are more available, the roads are actually better, the internet is faster, and so on. Because in Germany right now, unfortunately, the last 10 years and probably the next 10 years, the infrastructure isn't really good. You pay so many taxes and then the infrastructure isn't world class. I would say it's more mediocre. And also, if you have more questions, if anything was unclear, I'm happy to do a follow-up. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you disagree, if you think Germany is not a tax hell, if you think that paying anywhere between 50 and 70% of your taxes is actually a good deal, let us know as well. And then see you in the next one.